Hello, Guardians, and welcome to Destiny Reset, episode 123. This podcast is about anything and everything related to Destiny the game. If you love playing Destiny 2 as much as we do, you're in the right place. This reset, we head into a week full of controversy, AER0 completes the Leviathan raid for the first time, and we express our excitement for the newly revealed ways to play Curse of Osiris. Hello, Guardians, and welcome. It's AER0KNIGHT, and here with me is CyborgSasquatch. How you doing, man?
Hello, Space Wizard.
Hello. How are things?
Good. Happy Thanksgiving, belated.
You too, dude. Did you have a good one?
Yeah, it was a good time. How was yours?
It was great, man. We got family time in, had a 4-day weekend, and ate a lot of food. Thankful for a lot of things. It was very nice.
Good.
Very nice.
Good. We did about the same. Had family in from out of town, so stayed busy over that period. Getting to spend some more quality time with all of them, and eating and orchestrating Thanksgiving for 25 people, and cooking a lot, and
so much food.
You name it. It's exhausting having fun.
It is like you usually end up, for us, we travel a bit, and it's it's a fantastic time, but it's Thanksgiving is like the official start of the holiday season. I feel bad for y'all because I know you guys drive a little jaunt, not too far not
from
too
where
bad.
you are, but I mean we go to my folks' house, which is about, it's like 45 minutes from our house. So, but when you've got like a toddler and an infant, like that's a big deal.
Man, it seems like we start getting ready like for several hours. And we try to hit our launch window, and then it's like, okay, that window is passed a little ways. Let's shoot for this new launch time.
Adjust. That was us like Thanksgiving Day. We did a bunch of cooking and prep the day and night before, but we had
it's all about the night before. Yeah,
we had a bunch of stuff though that had to go in the oven that day so we could bring it over, and it was cooked and hot, and those things didn't happen on time.
Yep.
Because you got all that plus the kids, everybody to get ready and cleaned up and showered. It's like, man, having a family is a lot of work.
If everybody needs a bath, that adds some time.
But it was all worth it. We got out there, we did the thing, had a great
Always
time,
worth it.
Ate good, did it big. That's Thanksgiving, spend time with family, and
that's what's great about Thanksgiving, man. Is it's about food and family time. All the holidays are great, but there's nothing
football.
like food and family.
Family,
there you go.
football.
Yes, football. Yeah,
definitely watch some football, and then there should be some kind of F word for taking a nap, but I'm not sure what it is.
There you go.
I don't have the brain power to think about that today.
Right. Yeah. Well, we hope all of you guys had a fantastic Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and if you're not in the U.S., hopefully you just had a
great weekend. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, everybody, places have their own holidays.
Yes.
There's, Canada has its own, I think they have their own version of either, what is it? Boxing Day? Isn't Boxing Day a really big holiday in Canada?
I feel like that's right.
Yeah. That's
we need
that's
phone
like the day
we need
after.
Phone a Dirt Fam friend right now. We need to phone one of our Canadian Dirt Fam.
They all have their own holidays. We need to be sure to celebrate those with them as well.
Yes,
we have so many Canadian listeners, and then Asian listeners and
all over the world,
listeners, and just you name it.
You guys tweet at us when you have your favorite holidays.
Let us know your holidays so that we can celebrate those on the show with you.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we got any announcements today, man?
We do. Actually, as you're listening to this today, we will be announcing on our Twitter feed, good old @DestinyReset, the winner of our Blue Yeti and Lola headphone giveaway.
Yeah, man. So that ends.
Yes.
We're recording super late this week on a Monday, right before you're going to hear this. So
Yes.
Today was the last day to take part in that contest. And so we will probably around midnight or so, we'll pick a winner and we'll put it up on the Twitter feed. And good luck to all of you who entered. We appreciate your taking part in that contest. And if you don't win, stay tuned because we do something like this every month. So there's more opportunities to win if you didn't win today.
Yes, at least once a month. We're lucky enough to be able to give away some blue products. So stay tuned.
One other just off the presses announcement. I've finally gotten off my butt and created that second PC clan.
Nice.
Because we did hit the 99 members in Destiny Reset Bronze. So the PC clan capped out and has been super active. So we got enough people to cobble together another group of PC clan members. So Destiny Reset Platinum is now open for business. Last week, I think I said silver, and I forgot that we already had a silver on a PS4.
Yeah, that's all right.
I forgot
Platinum's
that.
good.
I'm not on PS4, so I don't pay attention. But so Platinum is what it's going to be, and you can, if you'd like to join, cruise over to our Discord, and there is a clan sign up channel. There's also a wait list pinned to that you can put your name on. I'll be paying attention. Or if you just want to find it and request to join if you're on PC, I'll be keeping an eye out for those too. There's plenty of room. We'd love to fill it out, and let's see how much experience we can get this week to level up the clan before the new season starts next week. I don't know if technically, even if we had enough members, I don't know how far we could get in the levels, but hey, it's worth trying.
Try for it. Dude, I just realized this week I'm looking at a calendar at work today and I'm like, is it next week? No, it's not next week to do. Wait,
it
is
absolutely
it next week?
is next week, man.
Holy
I just
cow.
was thinking about it today. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
We got new content coming up. Like,
I'm really glad they
jump in
did
this.
early December, because the later in December, you know, the more is going on. Christmas parties for work. And
if they did like mid to
stuff.
late December, it'd be tough.
Yeah,
It would
they
be
knew
tough.
what they were doing.
So yeah, it was nice. Early December, perfect timing for me at least.
Yes.
And for many as well. So let's there's there's a lot to talk about this week. So let's jump into some news.
Let's do it.
And let's talk about this week at Bungie. A very
Quite
sparse
possibly.
and lean post
Yep.
this week.
I think in our Discord, somebody posted like the most bare bones TWAB maybe to date, but it's to be expected. It was Thanksgiving.
It's Thanksgiving.
Weekend.
There's the news was in other places. You know, they're promoting Curse of Osiris right now. So of course, there was a stream over this past week detailing some more Curse of Osiris that we'll talk about. So they had a recap of that. If you missed it, there is a YouTube video, the new ways to play Destiny 2 Curse of Osiris stream. So we'll talk about that shortly. And then in the Destiny Operations Center with Destiny player support, there was a hotfix. 1.0.7.1 was released on PC to address Buffalo errors. And man, it seems like every week they've got to roll out a fresh patch on
the
PC.
old PC version.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's just so many compatibility issues and like weird stuff.
Yep. New world for them.
Yeah, they list some continued investigations. Some of those are issues with faction rally tokens, issues with Callus and the Leviathan raid, blank screens when loading into the tower, bright engram ornaments, and then a hunter survivalist perk issue. So these are some new issues that they're adding to a known issues list that they'll be working on. And then they detail that we'll have Destiny Update 1.1.0 and Hotfix 1.1.1 to address some known issues alongside Curse of Osiris. So can't wait for those patch notes, man.
Oh, dude, I love when the lengthy patch notes
That's
drop
the meat
with the
That's
DLC
the meat of the meal.
Yep.
Can't wait to
It's
get
like
my
great
teeth
book.
around those. Yep. And then we had the movie of the week. Some people are steady on the montages.
Dude, the sniping in this first one is unreal.
Yeah.
I had to check and make sure it was Destiny 2.
Yeah, because it's a lot of work
Yeah.
to create a sniping montage in Destiny 2.
A lot of quick scoping. I mean, it was fantastic. Yeah. It makes me want to get out my sniper more often.
I have to do it, man.
Yes. I've shifted to the shoddy like without hesitation because I ran no land and shoddy so much in D1. It's like, okay, well, I guess if sniper's a power, I'll run a shoddy. And when I watch this, I'm like, oh man, I remember these moments. Not quite as often as this. I mean, as it appears that happens in this montage, but often enough to make me want to get out the old sniper again. Anyways,
I'm
watching, guys.
Still rocking the Voops.
Oh, nice.
Good time with the Voops for my heavy.
Still
personally.
main ingredient?
No, man. I got the... let me look up the exact name. I forget the name of the gun. I got the Iron Banner Fusion. Last Iron Banner.
Nice.
And been playing around with it, and I used it a bunch this week. Hold on, let me swap from PC to Xbox.
Yeah, I haven't gotten the fusion. I've gotten I wanted the hand cannon and the pulse. But,
I've got a bunch of the weapons now, but I've had a really hard time getting armor to drop. So the fusion is called the Wizened Rebuke.
Oh yeah, I saw that on my feed.
Yeah, and so it's a max impact fusion with a long charge rate, but it's got a perk backup plan. Sound familiar? When if for a short time after you swap to the weapon, you get reduced charge time and increased handling speed. So it's almost like a legendary Plan C with max impact.
Right up your alley.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Very nice.
It's also got liquid coils, which increases impact damage and lowers the charge time. So basically, this thing is like a fusion sniper rifle that you can either, pre-charge around corners and get crazy long voops like I used to with Plan C, or you can, use that backup plan perk, swapping to it, real fast and getting a surprise voop on people. Right. And I like it a lot. I still get
out the old main ingredient, but dude, they are, I get it out every now and then, and they're always fun. They're
powerful.
Fun in Destiny 2.
They're powerful.
Yeah. They're a good time.
It's not, I don't think I'll ever be able to get the fun that I had when I mained Plan C in Destiny 1 because of the availability of special. And I got really, really, really good with it, but it's still fun to, get those crazy long distance voops.
Yeah, I feel like in Destiny 2, even more so than Destiny 1, like if somebody's charging the old fusion at you,
you want to get away.
You like freeze up for a second, and if you do that, you're dead. You're like, oh no, I'm not close enough to use the gun I have.
Quite as quick in Destiny 2, and fusions are a bit more potent in Destiny 2, I feel. So
the range,
you had to be pretty good with a fusion in Destiny 1 to not get killed.
So much you were going up against.
The time to kill is a little slower in Destiny 2, so like it makes it a more potent weapon because you have the time to use it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Anyways,
good choice.
Tangent.
There's our first tangent.
We were talking about the TWAB.
Yes.
And we were talking about the videos.
Check out the movies of the week.
Yes. And then they mention, they're going to be out for Thanksgiving. And then they mentioned that there's going to be the last stream before Curse of Osiris on Wednesday, November 29th at 11 a.m. Pacific time, where we get a preview of new rewards with Season 2 and the Curse of Osiris expansion. Of course, written by Dimg04. Thanks for the TWAB.
Yes.
Moving on.
You know, we could throw in Luke Smith's tweets this week.
So these are great.
The reveal stream this week. Luke Smith tweeted out this week, guys, and said, and I quote, "Next week, the Destiny 2 team will detail the system side of the December update. It includes economy updates, vendors and acquiring their gear, tokens, legendary shards, investment updates, new reward systems for weapons and armor, gameplay updates, and more. Additionally, Noseworthy and I will also be answering some questions and addressing community feedback we've been reading since launch. See you soon." So
this is great because people were specifically asking and hoping that the last stream would be more than just showing off rewards.
Gear, yes.
Yeah. And so it seems that they are going to... It sounds like we are getting a series of updates into the end game, into the economy, sandbox updates, and they're going to preview some of that. That's really positive news, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, they're kind of opening up and saying that they're going to at least give some feedback on what some of the community's feelings have been about D2. So I don't want to say I'm skeptical that we're going to... I would say that, don't invest too much into what we might get out of this.
Right. Yeah, don't expect everything that we want.
But I think it is a positive step that they're going to, especially Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy as leads and director of Destiny 2, that they are going to provide some feedback, directly from the studio about, concerns that people have and feedback that they've provided. So I think that that's a really good step, and it's something that really needed to happen in this stream. And I'm glad to see that they're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, they say the addressing community feedback we've been reading since launch. So, it's like, I'm excited. My favorite stream when I looked at the three of them was the one we got last week, which was New Ways to Play. And then as soon as he sent this tweet out, I was like, you know what? I think this one is my new favorite stream. I'm looking forward to it. But like you said, I immediately am like tempering my expectations, because there's no way they can address and or probably have ready many of the things, quality of life things we would like to see. But, this is what the community is wanting in a certain respect, a tweet like this. And it also makes me, I don't know if you think about this, but when a specific member of the team tweets out like this, which in this case it's Luke Smith, so game director, but I always wonder if they coordinate that. Like, did he send out an email that morning and like, guys, I'm going to tweet this out today? So
I
just
think
a heads
absolutely.
Up. You know what I mean? Like, because, we'll get little tidbits here and there, like when John Wisniewski will tweet something out about hand cannons, and it's like, they've got to coordinate that, right?
I think some things they have the liberty to kind of comment on stuff. I think that they probably have more autonomy when it comes to talking about things that are currently in the game. Like you're talking about, like explaining a nuance of a gun or a system that they realize, this could be helpful if we tell you.
They know when it's gonna send the community in like a tailspin, whatever that tailspin may be.
Right. But I think that certainly when they're talking about things that affect the studio as a whole, or things that talk or indicate or promise future content or future details, I think they have to, like any big company, I think they probably have to go through their PR, and it has to be vetted, and they have to make sure, okay, is this, is what is going to be said, is that something that the studio is committing itself to because you're a representative of it? I think it's a big deal when somebody at that level talks, because they can't just talk out their butt, right? They're representing the whole studio.
We always talk about, we know the live team has taken over certain aspects of the game now. And I guess in this particular instance, these are like core systems and things of that nature. So we would expect to hear from Luke Smith and Noseworthy on this.
Yeah, and we know already that they're already working on different content. So they're taking time as, the leads of Destiny 2 Vanilla proper, to come and sit down and talk about these things. And it demonstrates a certain level of accountability for the product that I think is important for them as people to be there to be the ones talking about it, as opposed to, let's say Chris Barrett or the live team, director or somebody like that may almost seem like, okay, if you're going to talk about things that they're acknowledging, like, okay, we may have misstepped here, or we see that this needs work. Luke Smith or Noseworthy talking about those things has a lot more strength behind it than, say, somebody else that was handed the project and you're like, well, yeah, you're the guy that got, I don't want to be like rough about it, but like stuck with this,
Right. Yeah.
Not saying like
you got to figure
Destiny
it out.
2 is a huge problem, but like anybody that has to come and make changes to cater to the Destiny community is going to have their hands full, because even if things are bright and cheery, like people are going to find a problem with everything. And so, my point, I just feel that it's really a good move by Bungie and by them to have them be the ones that are there taking up for what they've created.
Yeah, I wondered if we were going to get like a separate interview like video, or if they're actually going to be sitting on the couch at some point during the live stream with Deej, I assume.
I would assume that, they're
like,
just going to sit down and do their thing.
Man, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too. No matter the occasion, I always look forward to hearing the developers communicate and talk about what they do and talk about the game and how, what are the concepts, the core design concepts that drive decisions that they make. And on that note, I think it's really absolutely well worth a plug. We have some great friends in podcasting over at Crucible Radio that have had a excellent yet controversial interview the past 2 weeks on their show, where they had John Wisniewski and Claude. What is Claude's last name? Now I'm drawing a blank. I'll have to pull it up.
That's okay. It's Claude.
Claude Jerome. And he's a senior sandbox designer, so he like basically worked and created the subclasses, or was directly responsible for them, not just him by himself. And then John Wisniewski is basically over weapons and things of that nature. And so they had a very long interview. They split it over 2 parts, and they really get deep into why certain decisions were made in relation to those specialties that they're in.
Areas.
Reveal some great information about like how certain things in the game work that are not quite so obvious. It's totally worth a listen. And the guys did a great job with the interview as always. So I would go check them out at Crucible Radio on Twitter, or Crucible Radio on iTunes, or wherever you want to find them. They're great friends of ours, and you should definitely check this show out.
Yeah, I'm almost done with part 2. I always love they're doing their Crucible Radio thing, and they ask very specific things, anywhere from the Vice Foundry to aim assist on PC. So
they talk about high caliber rounds. They revealed some very helpful information with how that works, and just a ton of stuff that was really fascinating. So I would go check that out. It's controversial in some ways because of how honest they were about some things. And I just put it this way without getting like way deep into that. If you want to perceive things in a way that paints a person or a company in a bad light, you will. If you want to take it as it stands and understand that they're revealing how their process works and see it as, okay, this is, how designing a game works, then that's how you're going to perceive it. So, I would say go into it with, positive expectations of, two individuals that have worked at Bungie, that care very much about what they do, are good at what they do, and are being very honest about how the Destiny 2 creation process went.
Yeah, it's just a cool opportunity for Destiny players to hear two very specific positions get interviewed from the Bungie team. I mean, the other part of it is, keep in mind too, it's the weapons guy and the subclass guy. So they're not asking questions, quality of life questions, naturally, that maybe some of us want to ask Luke Smith. So keep that in mind. These aren't the guys that they're going to ask those questions.
Don't go into it and be like, oh, they got some developers, so they're going to hit them hard and grill them. That's not, first of all, they're not the media, so that's not their responsibility. Second of all, that's really not a great expectation of developers that you ask to come on your podcast. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's one thing. I mean, of course, you'd probably, if Luke Smith was coming on your show, you'd have some particular questions you wanted to ask. But in this scenario, I mean, this is. I mean, we've heard him on at least John on the show before. These are the weapon guys. These are the guys that can tell you why, like they do, why Vice ended up being the way the kind of weapon it is, and you said, the high cal stuff was very interesting. The different 1v1 engagements and what high cal can do to that. So it's very interesting. Definitely go check it out, guys.
Yeah, so props to them. Great job as always. And if you're into that sort of thing, it's some excellent content that they put out. So moving on from all that, of course, so we have a lot to look forward to this Wednesday at that reveal stream. I'm definitely going to be watching with bated breath with everything that we're going to see. So,
yeah, I mean, those tweets from Luke Smith, I mean, we want to temper our expectations, but all of the bullet points he mentions in those tweets are more, honestly, than I thought they might be ready for by this DLC and this update. So for for him to throw that on the table to want to talk about on this stream, I'm excited about. So
yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. Yep.
All right. So in other news, more controversies surrounding Bungie and Activision this
one
week.
Of those weeks.
This has been a tough one. This has been a tough one for them. So to sum up this particular issue that's been transpiring, I've kept an eye on this over the past couple of weeks as it became.
I saw you tweet out about it last week sometime, I think.
Yeah, and as it kind of rose to the surface, essentially what people or a number of individuals and then more were starting to find is that when playing Destiny and completing activities, be it a public event, a strike, whatever it was, the amount of XP earned seemed that it was not in line with what was being displayed on your screen. So you've got like an XP bar at the bottom. Is it the bottom or the top of the screen? I forget. That UI just kind of like becomes part of your mind's eye.
Yep. I think it's the bottom.
But what happens, say you complete an activity or you kill an enemy, you get a little number that pops up on a progress bar that's supposed to kind of help you visualize, what you're earning as far as XP for completing an activity or killing an enemy, and your progress towards leveling up, which earns you a Eververse Bright Engram. And what people were realizing is that, you complete a public event, it says, plus 5,000 or what have you. But then they were noticing that the bar was not increasing at a level that was commensurate with that amount of experience. And it started to seem off. And I think what really made it very poignant for many was when we had Clarion Calls, which was supposed to be double XP, and what people were receiving just wasn't adding up. And I found it kind of weird, but I didn't get to spend the whole weekend playing. But I played for a while and I was like, man, I kind of expected to like get more bright engrams out of this, but I didn't really think too hard into it. I was like, oh, maybe I just, wasn't playing the right stuff. It's like you can never really pin down how much you got to play to get a bright engram, right? You just kind of get them along the way.
Yeah, I've had those moments where I'm like, man, I really felt like but yeah, you just never know for sure.
Yeah, because they kind of shower them down on you when you start the game, and then the further along the game, it's like, man, I might have gotten 2 this week, maybe.
Well, the only time we see numbers too is when you actually complete something, right? There's no numbers actually on the XP bar, right?
No, not on the bar itself. Yeah. Just when you do something that earns it pops a little number up down there and increases the bar. So, with that phenomena happening, people started to test. And as they started to test, they started to realize that the numbers weren't adding up. And they were using tools like Destiny Item Manager and other third-party tools that tap into the Bungie API to measure, okay, what is the API telling you that you actually earned on a completion? And then what does the UI in the game say? And those two things were not jiving. You were essentially seeing one thing on the screen and actually receiving a different number. And over the course of, it was really, people were starting noticing this a month ago, but really over the course of the past 2 weeks, as it became more evident, more people started testing it and doing so in depth. Yeah. And what they found was that, in fact, this was correct, and that there was a sort of cooldown on experience gains that is not displayed in the game, but does reflect on completing those activities. That's the point at which I've kind of found out about this, and, I put out a tweet about it.
And some larger outlets started to grab a hold of it too, I think.
Yeah, so
the last week or so.
In the past several days, there was nothing from Bungie about this, but some media outlets picked it up, and pretty quickly Bungie put out a statement. So their statement,
might as well just read it.
Yeah, let's do you want to read it?
I can read it, yeah. So, November 24th, titled XP in Destiny 2. We've seen community discussion around XP gain in Destiny. After reviewing our data, we agree that the system is not performing the way we'd like it to. Today, we'd like to describe what's going on under the hood and talk about what you can expect going forward when it comes to earning XP in Destiny 2. Currently, XP will scale up when playing longer or fixed duration activities like Crucible, competitive multiplayer matches, and the Leviathan Raid. And XP will scale down when playing activities that can be quickly repeated, like grinding public events. We are not happy with the results, and we've heard the same from the community. Effective immediately, we are deactivating the system. As a result, players will see XP earn rates change for all activities across the board, but with all values being displayed consistently in the user interface. Over the course of the next week, we will be watching and reviewing XP game data to ensure that these changes meet our expectations as well as yours. Any additional updates to this system will be communicated to you via our official channels. So, that first, actually the second sentence is one of the most interesting ones in the release.
So essentially, I gave them the benefit of the doubt at first. I said either this is intentional or it's a bug. Either way, they need to get ahead of it. They finally did acknowledge it, and they've explained it's not a bug. This is a system that they, in fact, had in the game and purposefully had in the game. So they are confirming that there is a XP scaling algorithm, essentially, in the game that does scale XP depending on what you're playing and how long you're playing it. It seems as though in my opinion, the real purpose for this is to prevent people from grinding.
Right.
If a public event is worth 1,000 XP, They would rather not have people grind the easiest or shortest activity to grind out Eververse engrams. That seems to be the big issue here. They do mention that it's supposed to scale up, so you get more XP from things like Crucible and the Leviathan, and that's nice. But essentially, 100% honest, to me, it just seems like they got their hand caught in the cookie jar.
Well, the thing is, you know, I've made some notes about this. I'm trying to collect my thoughts on it, and I kept going back and forth because it's like, okay, as far as the releasing of the statement on it, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, the timing of when they released it, yeah, we won't even go there. Okay, they open up communication about it. The second sentence I mentioned is that they say, after reviewing our data, we agree that the system is not performing the way we would like it to. That just doesn't make, I don't know how much sense that makes. The reason I say I keep going back and forth is because it makes sense to me that you would get less for public events than you would the raid and trials or something of that nature. Now, throttling it and just getting less XP is two different things. But then you roll into, okay, if you're somebody that plays 2 days a week, you should get, you know, it's nice to get some XP from those public events because you're not playing as much as some of these guys and gals that are playing all day long. So I'm like, okay, kind of makes sense. But then it really all boils down to communication. I mean, doesn't it? So if they would have just from the very beginning said, we're trying this system, you know, people still wouldn't have been super happy, but at least it would have been, you know, they would have been out in front of it, like you said. You know, well, for people that can grind it all day, you know, after you do 10 public events, we're going to throttle you a bit because, you know, we don't, you know, it's just one of those things. Now, again, there's so many layers of this. There's another layer is that, like you said, we're talking about bright engrams, which is the Eververse engram that you get. So naturally, they don't want you to be able to get a gazillion of these things because really,
because then you'll never buy them.
You're never going to buy them. So I mean, it's like, that's why I go back and forth. And I basically, it all boils down to me. It turns again into a communication thing. Like if this is a system in the game, you know, at some point you're going to have to talk about this system just like we are right now. If you're going to do this, you might as well just mention it. Okay, this is how, you know, we don't want you to be able to grind public events all day because you get some substantial amount of XP from those. This is what we're doing in regards to that. But, you know, here we are. What do you know, I don't know. What do you think?
So, you know, I think before getting to their statement and the way they're handling this, the core issue at hand for me is, as you've said, communication, and not even just direct communication from the developer. It's how they chose to communicate in the game. Mm-hmm. And the way they chose to communicate in the game, what's going on, is to obfuscate it.
Yeah, and they don't. So you think you're getting it.
For me, that's strike one. Almost strike 1 and 2 right there for me, as far as my level of trust in this issue, where I begin with providing them the benefit of the doubt. That's where that ends for me, because in their statement, they are acknowledging that there is XP scaling. And so by disallowing that to be evident to the player purposefully, it is a deceitful mechanic. It is coded that way specific. It's not a bug. It's not something that they did, you know, on accident. They told their coders, and they were directed to make it display what you would normally receive. And that is kind of the start of where my trust is broken. Because they fooled me. I mean, I look at that bar and I see, you know, I don't stare at it everything that I do, but I am trusting that what the game is telling me is what's happening. And because there's money involved in that system, it's obvious that they have deliberately deceived their player base to prevent people from noticing this mechanic.
Well, you just wonder if an Eververse item wasn't involved, because I've been really happy with the Eververse Brightingrams. Like, I get them often enough. They're cool. I'm excited when I get them. I saw on my feed, among everything else that's going on right now, somebody saying like they miss being excited about normal weapons in the game like they are Brightingrams. But it's like if that wasn't the reward for leveling up with experience after you reach max level, would a system like this ever been thought about being put into place?
No.
You know what I mean?
I don't have a problem with the system, the idea of the system as a whole. It's in other games. And the purpose is, as they have discussed, so that when you're doing bigger, longer activities, you get scaled up XP. When you're chaining smaller activities, there's essentially a cooldown or the benefits slowly become less and less. And, if that's how they want XP to work, that's fine. But they have an obligation to communicate that either through the UI or through any number of mechanisms to the player in the game. The thing is that there's no shortage of ways that they can achieve what they wanted to achieve, but they decided to do it this way. They could have not had a scaling system. They could have had fixed values on certain activities, and there could have been a cooldown where, your first 3 public events of the week earn you a certain full amount or a double. And then after those 3, you earn less and less and less. I mean, there's so many different ways that they could do this. Their imagination is really the only limiting factor here, but they decided to have a scaling system. And
the big thing for you is tell you different in the game, or not tell you, basically.
Yeah, because it's purposeful. Yeah. And that really hurts my trust.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. If they would have just gave us the actual number, the throttling number, then that makes sense, right?
Yeah. And so that being said, with that knowledge, I have to accept that to be a truth, that is what has occurred. There's nothing to suggest otherwise. And then I have to digest the rest of what is transpiring with how they're handling it with that in mind. They have lost the benefit of the doubt with me. So now they have basically done wrong to me as a player, and I have to take everything they do from henceforth knowing what their original intention was. It's like if you wrong your friend, if you say something bad about them behind their back, right? And then that person that they told, they come and tell you, and they're like, well, did you hear what Cyborg said about you? It was really ugly. And then you confront them about it, and they say, oh, I'm sorry. What I meant was blah, 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 blah. And, that wasn't my intent. I'm really, that's just, you really shouldn't be upset about it. But they're failing to offer an apology and take accountability for something. The real intent was still there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If somebody fails to take accountability for something, for me, you have to keep the motive in mind. If they're not repenting the behavior, so to speak, for lack of a better word. And so when I look at how they are approaching this, they're really not. They don't even bring up the display issue. They take zero accountability for that. They only discuss the fact that there is an XP scaling system. They, quote unquote, don't like the way it's performing. Yeah, I bet you don't, now that it's become obvious that it's performing that way.
Right.
They say we're not happy with the results. The results are they've, got cake on their face. And I really, their response is very boilerplate PR. You can stack it against a lot of similar responses we've seen from publishers and developers about similar issues recently. They it very much on its face seems like the good guy move by hitting it head on, but case in point, they didn't say anything until it hit the media.
Yeah, and it just stinks too because, you know, in most scenarios with Bungie, they get reamed by the community, and we look at it objectively, and it's like, you know, it's like they're doing the best they can. But then this particular thing has got to be one of the most probably controversial ones. You know what I mean? Like
there's a
not
lot of
adding
things in Destiny where design choices are design choices. Like, I'm not going to hate a developer or lose trust with a developer or bash them for just making design choices. I'll offer criticism. Like, that's kind of what I do. But
Right.
This is a case where I feel my trust was taken advantage of by a developer. And it doesn't feel great. And I think that, anybody that's played this game should have a problem with this. I've had a lot of conversations, and a lot of people have said, oh, you know, like, don't get salty over it, or, you know, what's the big deal? But I think it needs to be driven home that it's a very, very big deal when a developer is intentionally deceiving you. Did they take something from you? That's hard to quantify. Have they sullied your experience? Again, hard to say. You don't know what you don't have, right? Ignorance is bliss. But when we allow things to happen like this and don't challenge them, you've heard the term many times, but it is a slippery slope. It absolutely is. And I believe, and I want to call for Bungie to take accountability for this. If they can't, it's going to inform me a lot about the culture of that company. And, you know, guys, I mean, you know me, like, I love Destiny. I love Bungie. I love the people that work there. I have the highest respect for everything that their company stands for, but this is a really big problem for me.
Yeah, let's hope, you know, there's been many things they have to come out and chat with the community about. You know, again, it's most of the time it's not been at this level. So let's hope maybe they address it further, like we expect Bungie to do. We do really respect Bungie as a company, and I definitely, I mean, this is an interesting one, man. This is like the furthest we've ever gone with a specific thing in the game, you know? So it's, you know, I thought about so many different angles of it. And, you know, one of the last things that you kind of reminded me of here is the UI trickery that was going on, you know, and that's a big piece of it. So I don't know. I do hope, we hear some more. I hope they take it head on and maybe talk about it a little bit more. I don't know if that will happen, but I mean, we would expect that from Bungie, from all of their past, you know, the thing that makes it a little harder right now is communication from them right now in the state of Destiny 2 and some of the feedback they're getting from the community. You know, the communication is at play again, because we want them to be a little more transparent with what's going on. If they're hearing what we're saying, this and that, you know, again, it's only been 3 months, but to bring this back around, you know, I agree. I hope they address this some more. This particular one, this single statement really doesn't cut it. Like, we need a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. I do want them to have the opportunity to write it, beyond just changing the system. I think that, you know, that may be a correction of the behavior, because it's necessary. But I hope that they respect their players and their fans enough, to take it the extra mile to make this right. Whatever.
And
that
we know they do. We know they appreciate and respect their fans. So,
yeah. And this is for them a tough time to get egg on your face, because people already got their pitchforks out for this stuff. So, not trying to feel sorry for them, but they have to face this head on, because public opinion is not too high of any game or publisher or anyone that does microtransactions improperly.
Right? Yeah.
In whatever however people's opinion of that might be, that it runs the gamut. But with everything else that's been going on in the news, and you all know, but it's a tough time to get busted for something like this.
Yeah, you got to wonder too how much of the player base won't ever even know about this. And I mean, there's a big chunk of players that don't watch all the feeds and the Bungie, areas.
They'll
be
never know
updated,
the difference.
So, yeah, and it's just one of those things. We'll see. Though we hope they'll address it a bit more. I think this whole thing, we don't want to spend a ton of time on this. It is a topic we need to address, but I think a lot of this conversation goes away if what you said about the, like I said, the trickery going on the UI with what you're actually getting in the XP. If that wasn't present, a lot of this conversation goes away, because there wasn't.
Yes, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
The fact is, even if this system existed, if the proper values were displayed, then within 1 to 2 weeks of the game releasing, folks would have sorted it out. There would have been a discussion, and would have been like, all right, so this is how it works. You want to get a lot of experience, you got to change activities, or you got to take a break for a little while and come back, or, whatever it is. And we would have just accepted it for what it is, maybe discussed it a little bit and moved on.
I'll be the Bungie fanboy here. What if, we're not game devs. What if in the coding of this particular UI item, they did make an effort to go in and have their coders adjust what you actually would get if repeating a public event, for example, over and over and over again, but they didn't code this area where you actually need to push it to what the player sees, and therefore the game did actually still think you were getting the XP that you would get for a public event. So one area was addressed and one was not. Is it possible that it was that particular thing that we're focusing the most on wasn't intentional?
We do know from people exploring the API and how these things are reported that the calculation happens client side, meaning on your machine or on your instance in the server, and then is reported to their database as whatever the actual number is, right?
Okay.
So if you complete a public event, then in your simulation of the game, it derives based on an algorithm in the code. This is how much XP was actually earned. And then it reports that to Bungie's database, who then assigns it to your player character. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I just want to throw out there are a lot of layers of this that we don't understand, but from what we can tell and what the research the community has done, it appears as though this was the case, right?
I think that it's most obvious that it's that they can't provide I wouldn't say an excuse, but a reasoning like that, because to fix it, all they had to do was flip a switch.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have to patch anything. They didn't have to test it and investigate it. They literally flipped a switch, and within moments,
disable.
The UI displayed what you're actually earning. And yeah.
Well, speaking of, we have the tweet from Bungie Help too, right?
Yeah, so this kind of added another layer to what the change was. They said the Destiny 2 API is yet to be adjusted to reflect the recent in-game change to earned XP. We are working on an API update to address the discrepancy. The correct value to earn an additional level is 160,000 XP. So the reason they put this out is because once the change happened, people immediately went to test what it looked like. And there were things weren't quite adding up. And part of that is because once you hit a certain level, to earn a full level, it was 80,000 XP. Mm-hmm. What's actually happened is the values associated with activities has changed. You actually earn XP a little faster now than you would even with all those cooldowns and everything else. But they doubled the amount of XP required for a level. So it's kind of like nothing really changed, but you at least know where you're going as far as experience wise to earn a bright engram.
What you need to get.
Yeah. I mean, they can set, that's the thing. Personally, I believe that they, as the game designers, if they're going to provide a mechanic that gives away something that's for money, they can set whatever that limit or amount is. Mm-hmm. I would hope they don't change that arbitrarily. And often there's, of course, tuning. But whether it's fast or slow, or if it takes you all week or whatever rate that they want you to earn these engrams, they can make it so. My personal expectation is they're going to do away with this mechanic entirely by next week. And they'll have something set up like a milestone that gives you a flat number, because this happened. But I don't know.
We shall see. Hopefully we get a little more info about it in the TWAB. Next week, I would think would be a appropriate place for it. Maybe not. Maybe not throw it right in the TWAB. Maybe they'll throw it in a specific announcement again to address it more.
But either way, it's in their hands now, and now you, the listener, have been informed, and it is up to you how you want to handle your experience as a consumer from there. My personal recommendation is to vote your conscience with your wallet.
We like to inform you guys of all the Destiny deets.
Good, bad,
what's going on? Yes. So, anyways, moving on.
Why don't we talk real quick about our sponsor,
Blue
Microphones, who they absolutely give us what we've earned for experience every month. Arrow and I at Destiny Reset Podcast use Blue Microphones products for all of our audio. Blue Yetis are what we currently use. We also have some new mics that we're going to be moving to hopefully next year.
A little Spark.
Yeah, a little Spark. Spark SL, I think it's called. Mm-hmm. And that's an XLR mic. Sounds beautiful. But the Yeti's just one of the many mics Blue creates. They also have headphones. Blue's award-winning products are the driving force behind professional musicians, internet creators, and countless gaming teams and Twitch streamers. The Yeti USB mic is the internet's most popular microphone. And their Mophie and Lola headphones deliver some really, really good sound and a very comfortable fit, and we can attest to that. Blue offers everything you need to completely immerse yourself in the ultimate gameplay experience. You can learn more about Blue at bluemic.com. And what can our listeners get, Aaron?
Guys, you can save 20% by using product code Destiny Reset at the bluemic.com store. And this is on many of their items.
Most items that you would 20%. Buy, just not the $5,000 microphones.
Right. Yeah, right. Still 20%. Excellent. If you guys, again, if you're browsing our website, if you frequent it pretty regularly, we do have a link to Blue's website on there as well. So check it out. If you can't tell, we're having a hard time phasing out our Yetis. We
like them too much.
The Spark is a fantastic mic, and we've got some things we're wanting to do differently with our setup, but we love our Yetis. So.
They're just so easy to work with.
Yes. So anyways, thanks, Blue, so much. Of course, we have that giveaway. We're announcing a winner for that today.
Yeah, courtesy Blue Mike.
Yes, there'll be some more of them, as always. So thanks, Blue.
Absolutely. So, Arrow, now that we've gotten through all the hard stuff, how was your reset, man?
Dude, I had an exciting reset. Since we last recorded, we had the Derp Fam meetup. I got a little story I want to share there, but before I get into that, I'll talk about, I played some IB, played some Iron Banner. I think I got to rank 9 packages last go around, so I had to do one more to get my emblem on PS4. I played, actually I don't know if I fit any Iron Banner on PC. I think I just fit in that bit on PS4. Always a good time. I'm looking forward to season 2 when we see some of those structure changes for Iron Banner as far as gear and stuff like that. But I fit in some more Zelda, and dude, last night I picked up, the Switch is turning into one of my favorite consoles. Did you get your Switch?
So I have it, but Santa Claus is delivering the Switch.
Okay, Santa Claus. That makes sense.
Yep.
That's a very Santa Claus worthy
Santa's gonna keep it in his bag until Christmas.
Well, good. Soon enough, we'll be able to talk about it, man. I love Nintendo does this every time. Every generation of consoles, I'm like, how are they gonna do it again this generation by having a console that is not as powerful as the others? And they do it time and time again. It doesn't matter that it's not as powerful. Like, I have this thing in my hand, and I'm playing Zelda, and I'm like, man, it's so great to be able to take this thing anywhere. I mean, even fit in like 10 minutes of gaming at lunch, during the day. And like, let's see what else is out here on the store. So I picked up a game called Portal Knights, which has been out it'll be a couple years in February, I think. But, it's fun, man. It's like this little charming, it's not even little, it's this charming, like, Minecraft meets RPG, and you can build, there's all kinds of stuff, and you have to find, craft a certain material to open up these portals, and you go to these different worlds, and it's super fun, man. And it's just another game that I have installed that can just sit in the palm of my hands, and I take that console. I mean, like, we traveled this past weekend. Got my little Switch carrying case, threw it in there. It's like not even a foot long, and boom, I got a full-blown console going with me everywhere.
Yeah, I think what they were able to do with with the Switch is what makes it partially so desirable, that it's portable, but also, a console.
Well, dude, and Skyrim came out on it, which I wish was $40, not $60, but I may have already bought it if it was $40. But dude, I've played about, basically almost 2 full-blown playthroughs. The first not, and then I restarted in full playthrough. But I could play. The Switch just does that. Like, all I can think about is, wait, what? Skyrim in my hands, and I can take it anywhere? There's so much of that game that I probably didn't even experience.
Yeah, because it's huge.
It sounds fantastic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, I fit in some Iron Banner, fit in some more Switch, and I also completed the raid, Cyborg.
So
I did the raid. Finally, right? I mean, what a noob. It's been how long this raid has been out, and at the meetup, we made it a point. First thing we did, they would not let me boot up Trials. Again, shout out to everybody at the Dirt Fan meetup in Sedalia. It was fantastic. Scorio, thanks so much for hosting it. Dude, we got a 6-man fire team, loaded up the raid. Of course, this week, that particular week, the gauntlet was the first. So that took some coordination, took us a little bit. I think that was the particular encounter that we would not let ourselves eat dinner until we finished it. It took us, it's like, that's how we motivated ourselves. And I think once we announced that like 2 or 3 passes later, we completed it because it took us a little bit to coordinate that one. You wouldn't believe if you have 6 people in a fire team in the same room, you think it would be easy, but then you take, everybody's talking and you can hear everyone. And then you take the fact that there's 10 other people also talking, doing things. It's not easy to complete a raid in the LAN party fashion, but we did it. Shout out. Thanks so much to you guys for helping me do that. I had a blast, man. Like I posted a YouTube video of it. When we beat Callus, man, we all waited a little bit too long to jump from the 3rd platform to the 4th. And you'll see in my video on my YouTube channel, like in midair, I was already hurting and I died. And 3 of us died and then the 4th died. And there was 2 of them left. And I wish you could see it from the perspective on my YouTube video, but I'm watching their screen after I died. And it's just, it's getting wider and wider and wider and they can't see anything to the point where they're just shooting at the center of their screen, and the other is punching Callus. I mean, you can see in my video, he's meleeing him, and he, like, at the last second, and you can't see it from my perspective, like, they can't see anything, he falls. And I wish we had the audio, because we were all like, yeah, we did it. And it was just a classic, like, it reminded me.
The big finish, right?
Dude, yeah, it was a classic LAN party moment, classic raid. It just reminded me how much fun I had raiding. Like it motivated me to want to step away from the Crucible for a little while and get back into raiding, man. And I don't know, and I really enjoyed this raid. I know I'm way late to the party, dude, but going back out into that main room is as close as we've ever been. I mean, it feels like you're fighting waves of enemies, waves of Cabal, and it feels like a wave-based game mode, and I absolutely loved it. It made me realize how many times I've mentioned it, how awesome it would be to just shoot wave after wave after wave of enemy, because that's what it feels like. It's so fun, man. Anyways, I had a blast, dude. This noob finally completed the raid, beat Callus, and I got to give a shout out to the Derp fam for making that happen.
So now that you've completed it, what's your take on the raid? What did you think?
I enjoyed it, man. I like the setup of it. I will say, there's certain points of particular encounters that, of course, I only played through once, so I don't fully understand all the mechanics that are going on. But they explained most everything to me and what I needed to know for my particular role. I enjoyed it. Like the garden or the dog's room, dude, that's a beautiful space. Like you may not like that encounter. Sometimes stealth isn't people's thing, but I couldn't get over how awesome that room was. Like it's colorful. It's super cool to be on like a gold plated, like Roman looking Cabal ship, but to be in, a room like that, an environment like that, to still be in there.
It's real pretty, right?
Yeah, but anyways, I mean, I enjoyed it. I really did. I liked it. We won't get into the whole ranking thing, but I had fun. I mean, I had a good time. I like that you go back. I was worried that going back to the same place would feel repetitive, but man, I couldn't get over how much fun it was just to shoot aliens in the face over and over again, and I didn't care. Like I would just keep them coming,
It's a lot of fun, and I always like going and doing the flags, as I call them, because you just get to kill Cabal for a little while. Yeah.
They just they gave me the role in those instances to just shoot things.
Yeah, just defend, right?
So that was fantastic.
Yeah.
But anyways, it took us longer to complete the gauntlet than it did Callus. It didn't take us we were super coordinated with Callus by the time we got to that point.
That's great.
But yeah, I mean, the gauntlet's a cool room. It's not exactly what probably would be my favorite thing. I know it's neat. It's a neat idea. It's cool. I like it, but probably if we got another raid at some point, that particular mechanic isn't. I will say it takes a lot of coordination. That's probably the whole point of that room. But I don't know. Overall, I enjoyed it. I wouldn't be able to rank it right now because we won't get into that.
Yeah, no, sure. I just was curious, just what your overall
everybody's
thoughts were.
Dude, the raid has been. What is this dude talking about the raid for? Like, can we move on, Cyborg? What did you do this recent?
Well, but no, before I talk about me, how did the Dirt Fam reunion go?
Oh, it was fantastic. We ended up with we were expecting 20, but about 12 or so were able to make it.
It's a good turnout.
Yeah, you know what? For a random Midwest meetup, 12 is pretty fantastic. And dude, I showed up on Saturday and we stayed till Sunday, and some were there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we show up, figure out how we're setting up the consoles. We ordered wings. We had a bunch of snacks. Like it's just a classic LAN party environment. And the more meetups like this we can have in the community, it's awesome, man. It was such a good time. We all, there was a couple people that I played with for a few years now, and I met them finally, and it's such a cool experience. And we took a picture, and it's off center because we didn't have someone to take it because we all wanted to be in the picture, so we had to like prop it on a shelf, or it was actually like the door seal. But anyways, man, it was a good time. It's always fun meeting people that you've been playing with for several years, and then you combine that with food and video games, and you're set, man.
Sounds like a fun weekend, man.
Yeah, we had a blast. Hopefully one of these, both of us can make it, you and I. And
and shout out to SC Oreo, Scorio, as we call him, for hosting
Scorio.
it. I know
thanks so much, dude.
He likes doing that, but it takes some work to host everybody in your home, so it was great. Great thing for him to do.
Huge shout out to him. 2 years in a row now. I gotta say, he got a rug, a very large rug for his living room, because last year I slept on the hardwood. The rug, I gotta say, this year was excellent. It was I can sleep anywhere, and that hardwood tested me last year, but the rug, this plush rug that he got, 10 out of 10.
That's great, man. That's great. Well, I'm glad you had such a fun time with everybody there, and playing Destiny in a LAN setting is kind of rare, so it is a lot of fun when you can do that. So that's great, man. Myself, and I played a bunch this week on console and PC. I played a lot of Iron Banner on console, trying to get as much stuff as I could. Man, armor is super rare. Mm-hmm. I really am looking forward to next season when it's a little more straightforward to receive those.
Same. I've only gotten 2 pieces, and I got a duplicate this go round.
I have 2 pieces. That's all I got. I was trying to just focus on one character so I could try to get like one full set of armor or close to it. So all I have is the mark and the chest for my Titan. Got a lot of weapons. I got the pulse, the scout, grenade launcher, fusion, maybe 1 or 2 others. I need to check my inventory.
I have this feeling that when a change to pulses happen, that pulse is going to be amazing.
Well, apparently, people that use the Iron Banner pulse have a higher KD on average.
Really? It's already a solid gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's either it's a really solid gun, or people that are really good play well with it. With something, there's some kind of,
there's something there.
There's something there. There's something there. There's a lot of guns to sleep it on,
Those are the 2 I wanted, was the pulse and the hand cannon. So I got them on console, so I'm sitting pretty. But it'd be nice to have them on PC.
I think a lot of people will agree that I would like to see pulse rifles be a little more powerful, or balanced.
I miss using them
somehow. Yeah, I really enjoyed pulses in Destiny 1, and I got good with them. And so I would like to see pulses be more effective in Destiny 2 if possible.
I like a good happy medium of like a mix between what you do with an auto rifle and a hand cannon. They give you that burst, but you also have to be precise. Like they're just a good gun to use, good archetype.
Mm-hmm. And then I didn't get any Iron Banner in on PC. That's okay. I kind of decided console is where I collect everything, and PC I just try to keep up.
Yeah.
Because I'm just running one character. But played some there too, and just enjoying, just enjoy jumping in the game, playing with some friends, playing with some people. Man, I'll tell you one thing about Iron Banner Clash. It is a tougher game type when it is Iron Banner, I believe. It has the capability to like either turn you on or totally turn you off to Iron Banner, because I've just heard a lot of complaints this week about how tough it's been. And I one night I solo queued and I lost count of how many games I lost by 1 point. I'm talking about it had to be like at least 5 games. It was down to the wire and I just lost by 1 point over and over. And I was like, oh, could this be any more painful? Like 2 tokens at a time, like grinding out, trying to get, my rank up packages. It was tough. Clash is just a different beast than Control. I think Control is just it's more friendly.
Well, it brings them out. I enjoy Clash, but if you get against those teams, it can be painful.
Yeah,
Clash
and
can
it's
be painful
a
sometimes.
tougher environment to solo queue. Downside of 4v4 is it's a little harder to get up together with your friends, because a fire team of 4 fills out pretty quick. And it used to be a little easier because there was almost always a 5th or a 6th spot needed to be filled, and you could rotate people in, as people had to log off, you could jump in there, and it just was a bigger party. So it's just a little bit tougher number to match make, with your friends, because 4 is 4, 6 is 6, but not just sitting here trying to complain, just observations I've had over this Iron Banner. And so I hope that some of the ways they're going to change as well, concerning reward systems. And I hope that they look at data with participation and different things as they have different game types. I'm not saying I think it should always be Control, but it's just not, I just don't think Iron Banner is as popular or as successful when it is Clash. I've just found that, and this is coming from somebody that loved Clash and Destiny 1. So,
yeah, I really enjoy Clash, but I mean, people love their Control.
Yeah, it's
a good one for
game.
Iron Banner.
It's kind of what the bigger, at least what 6v6, was kind of set the tone for. But I just like
Control. You
reminded
reminded me. We did fit in some trials at the Dirt Fam reunion, Dirt Fam meetup, and dude, it was survival again. We've already talked about this.
What map
but I'm
was that
expecting,
this past weekend?
I think it was Altar of Flame. Well, it wasn't this past weekend. It would have been the weekend before.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's what it was. And
because we played the night before you left.
Mm-hmm.
You and I played, and this is the weekend before last.
Yes.
How did it go when you got down there and played with some of those folks? I'm expecting to hear some changes on the stream, possibly to survival. You just do not have enough time to complete a round. It just turns into the life advantage thing. And I've talked about this already on the show, so I won't reiterate that, but it happened again. 3 of us in the same room were playing, or 4 of us, and our strategy, you can bum rush and do your thing, but it's just harder to do that in Destiny 2. So almost every team we'd run into, to the point where not too long after running into it several times, we just started doing it. Once you get up 1 kill, you just fade back
fall
to your
as
spawn
deep back into your spawn and hold up as much as you can. And I don't think that's the way they want that game mode to be played. So I'm sure soon we'll be hearing about some sort of tweak, whether it just be a time addition. I will say, man, like, we played for a bit. I kind of was hoping, at that point, it's like, man, I kind of wish it was Countdown this week. I really do enjoy Survival, but its current state just isn't a lot of fun right now. And we played for a little bit. I think we ran 2 or 3 cards, and then we started playing Fortnite. Everybody's heard of Fortnite at this point.
Oh yeah.
I played it for like a total of 5 minutes, and then we like up to that weekend. I hadn't played it much, and we played it from like 1 a.m. until 5 a.m, dude. It was so much fun. Like, it was a blast. And I don't know, it was a good time. And that game is fun to have people sitting right next to you, because it gets intense. Even in Fortnite, being more arcadey and fast paced, like, it still gets intense when you see people in the battle royale type game mode. But anyways, you made me think of Trials and then our Fortnite run. So we had a good time.
I can't remember if it was, I don't know if it was just during this reset or if I started it the weekend before, but I had finished Wolfenstein 2,
nice.
Or at least finished the campaign proper. There's a little more to the game.
I've heard that game's kind of crazy.
It's
experience.
The word I use is absurd.
Yeah.
Just, if you played the first one, you'll know like that there's just kind of like wacky story beats. Like, they're just like, it's totally absurd, out of left field stuff. And there's definitely some out there moments in the story, but it's cool. Like, it's entertaining, and they do things that you would never expect. So I finished it. I had a great time. I'll probably come back to it to play some more of what I have left. But I had to get through the campaign because I was itching so bad to boot up Assassin's Creed Origins.
Oh, man.
And I'm really glad that I did, because I started playing it, and it touches that place in my heart that I had for like Assassin's Creed, 2, 3, and Brotherhood, like that really kind of what I consider like the golden age of Assassin's Creed. Like,
and I've heard this character is pretty interesting too.
Yeah, it's just a whole new cultural setting that it's fleshing out really well. The landscapes are beautiful and interesting.
Yeah, that's what's drawing me most to it, is the Egyptian setting. Like, it looks awesome.
And they've got like the way they really capitalize on the RPG slant
which is fantastic.
You kind of have the option to where you go after quests, and those are the things that level you up, and then you're constantly going through new gear and finding new gear either on enemies you kill or in chests as you explore, and kind of going and figuring out what type of weapons and different stuff like that you want to use. And then there's like whole huge skill trees. There's like 3 different trees that basically you can decide like how you want to play, which is really fun, because I kind of err on the, like, I like to, in these types of games, like, take it really slow and stealth, like, basically like stealth archer / assassin, where I just like shoot dudes in the heads with arrows and sneak up and just shank them, and go through a whole base, even if it takes like 15 minutes. And just kill everybody without getting spotted. Like, I find that so much fun. And so, but you can spec out for that, so that it makes it easier. There's cool ways you can do things, or it's more rewarding. So it's not linear like it was in the past Assassin's Creeds, where you just kind of unlock, extra abilities as you go. Like, you can go that way, or you can go straight towards like head-to-head battle, or you can go this other route where you kind of focus on like tricks and traps, and using like special things called tools, which are like poisons and gas and different stuff like that. So it's interesting. And I think I played like 8 to 10 hours, and then I got to the end of the prologue.
Wow.
So It is a big game. And I think I'm going to be playing it for a really long time. I put it down for most of this reset so I could, play a lot of Iron Banner and stuff, but I keep wanting to be like, all right, when can I fit in some Assassin's Creed? But I'm going to need like a 5-hour session, you know? Like,
I've decided I will have that one at some point because it's got everything in it that I want, and I haven't played Assassin's Creed since Black Flag.
I'm that far into it, and I feel fairly confident that if you've ever played any of the Assassin's Creed and enjoyed them, that you should pick this back up. Because most people I know that played, they stopped at Black Flag. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly where I stopped. And I'm picking this up, and it feels like the things that you wanted, like the things that you really liked, they kept, and then they built new ways to play the game that entice you to come back to that franchise. And I think that they've really done a great job at that so far.
Well, I've added. I'm hoping to have this at some point soon, but I've added to my backlog because, of course, the sales happened this last week. So I bought Shadow of War for $25.
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed never went to the deluxe. Went to $45 on Amazon, but I was just watching Amazon. I know it did at some other like Walmart and stuff. So I'm waiting to see it go to $30 on Amazon.
So Black Friday, man. Did you pick up anything between Black Friday and Cyber Monday? Like any cool stuff? Yeah, you said
I picked up. I was actually looking at some PC stuff, just some peripherals and stuff like that. But the only game I picked up so far is Shadow of War. I mean, it was $25, dude. Yeah. So I couldn't resist. Dude, I don't know when I'm gonna get to it. I don't think I've
ever seen that many AAA games on sale for this good of a price.
Right, and being that recent of releases.
Man, if you want any of these games, like this holiday has been the best time to get it. $25 for a month-old AAA game, like holy cow, what a steal! Yeah. I'm burned again because every time I take advantage of that Target 2-for-1 before Black Friday, I end up spending more than if I had waited.
Yeah,
but I got to play the games for that time period, so I live with it,
Yeah, it's so fun watching the sales, man. I mean, like we picked up Wonder Woman on Blu-ray. It was like $6 on Amazon.
Yeah.
Like it's just crazy. It's like you ask yourself, okay, do I need this? And you know what? It's $6. We haven't seen it yet. I wouldn't mind owning it on Blu-ray. Why not?
Right.
So it's fun, man.
It was good.
Yeah, even between now until Christmas, I mean, those deals are gonna pop up randomly. So.
Do you have a Nintendo Switch Pro controller?
I do.
Okay,
yes.
so
I got that pretty soon after, man, because I was like, I need.
So I was gonna wait on that because it's like $80, but it was on sale for $60 today on Amazon.
It's like
so I picked it up for sure. I'm not letting that go by. I'm gonna grab that. That's a good deal.
It. Yeah.
But they had so many great deals this Black Friday. Sales, what do you call it, retail holiday.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of great stuff to pick up.
Yep, it's fun to watch them. See, I throw stuff in my cart and I check it like multiple times over the weekend to see what it's at.
Yeah, but anyways, that is our reset. But over the past reset, we got to talk a little bit about the Curse of Osiris second stream, which was new ways to play, right?
Yes.
I did get to watch this, but I couldn't hang out and chat, so I didn't get to see any of what you guys thought about it.
Yeah, dude, I had to watch the I went and pulled the archive stream up because I had a meeting or an appointment at that time. So,
but so what we saw essentially, first they showed off their big new public event that they've designed, which they have called the biggest public event they've ever done. I think it's called Vex Crossroads. And without getting too deep into what the whole mechanic is, 'cause we don't want to ruin it for some of you folks that don't want any spoilers, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it looked really neat. I mean, you went to several different areas of that particular zone.
You move around a lot. There's like,
and we're not talking just like you do now. It was like man cannons over it. It's ultimately to a point that you can only get to at that phase of the public event.
Right. And then there's really multiple bosses throughout the occasion, from what I understand, like different bosses spawn, and then there's a big final boss, almost like a strike boss. And then at the end, you get 2 public event chests as opposed to 1. Now,
yeah,
there was kind of a thing with this when, they're on stream and Deej,
he kept saying
the
rewards
players
are going to be great.
Yeah, they said it's supposed to be the most rewarding public event ever. Unfortunately, when he popped those 2 chests, he ended up with 2 tokens and a blue.
Dude, it is cringeworthy.
It was a little painful.
It was, and I can't believe Deej being Deej that he didn't acknowledge it. But he didn't ever, I don't think he ever acknowledged it when it happened 2 different times. I was waiting for just a little punchline, a little joke. Well, okay, all the systems might not be in place yet, but he never did it. So I was like, oh man, I feel for him.
But
anything but tokens.
Ideally, you can get a variety of different things out of a public event chest, right?
Yeah.
So, sometimes you'll get 2 blues and some tokens. Sometimes you'll get several tokens. It could have been any combination of things. I think just on that RNG,
yeah,
both chests, you got 2 tokens and a blue total. But, think about, it's almost like completing 2 public events at once. Mm-hmm. There's exotic chances to drop out of those chests. I'm choosing to overlook how that went down. It's
I think the timing just wasn't there for them. You feel bad for them at certain points, but at least they do the live stream for us, So
yeah,
it's gonna happen.
So then they kind of brought us and talked some more about the Infinite Forest,
dude.
I'm and the adventures. They did an adventure to kind of show off how the Infinite Forest works. And they essentially described it almost like Lego blocks that will fit together in different combinations. So every time you go into the public space or you're doing an adventure, what's happening is it's taking you they have these little floating islands almost, and each one is a different possibility. All the races, I believe, are represented. So the Vex, the Hive, the Fallen, the Taken, etc., I believe. And they describe it as basically the Vex simulating, different circumstances of, okay, let's say it's the future, and what if the Fallen survive, and that's, the enemies present on this location, because it's all a simulation. And so what happens is when you're playing in this public space, it basically fits together different pieces and no experience is going to be the same. Mm-hmm. So it's not quite procedurally generated. They did go to point out, they wanted to point out that it is curated. It's a curated experience. But it is a way for there to be some, I guess, to mix it up a little bit so you're not always seeing the same thing. And, while this, for some, they're just they're just trying to, draw it out. I see it as a plus. This is a public space that can have some more replayability and provide a more interesting experience than when you just go to Nessus or IO. So I think it's pretty cool. It's a cool idea. Can't wait to see it executed.
I'm excited about it, man. I know people are sick of me mentioning a wave-based mode, but if we're not going to get that yet, I'm excited about this because it's not, it'll be similar environments, but it's not going to feel the same. It'll be different. It almost is like we're running through an instance of a dungeon. I think this has a lot of potential. I hope that, there'll be something to chase more than tokens, after they implement a few things. I think that's important. But I'm excited, man. I'm really pumped about the possible replayability of this.
Yeah, in a game that has drawn more focus to the public spaces, I think this is a plus. We spend a lot more time in the public spaces doing public events and different things of that nature. So they want us to spend more time in those spaces and have a reason to do that. And so, I see it as valuable that they're going to do that, but give us something a little bit different in this space. And I think it's going to be fun to play around and just go back and explore and see what kind of different, experience and combination you can have. And
yeah,
so.
It'll give that just get a fire team together, run through and shoot stuff, and I was like tempering myself a bit because I know they've attempted things, wave type things with Prison of Elders and stuff like that. But I gotta say, the route they took with this, I'm excited about it. I can't wait to jump in. I think it's gonna be a good time
For sure.
And also, I don't want to forget to mention this because I saw him do it a couple times on stream. You get from the lighthouse, the social space, to the patrol area just by a
Going through a
teleporting
portal
gate.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. That's like super, way more immersive to me,
Yeah. Because it's technically in the public space.
Yeah.
It's
you
almost
can see
just like
people when they're up there.
a building that you enter,
Yeah.
think of it that way. And then it was really
Very
cool how when you leave the space, you can see the lighthouse up above,
Oh, yeah. Really neat.
So
Really cool.
they mentioned, a few things like there will be mysteries inside the lighthouse for us to solve. They mentioned that we'll receive some heroic adventures that have different modifiers. I think that is a great idea.
Yes.
We've talked about, if they could do something with adventures to give us a reason to go play them, because man, I mean, there's like dozens of adventures. I would play that stuff if there's a reward attached, because they're basically missions, and to be able to go and to finish those, with current rewards or to play them again. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So great idea. Tell us a little bit about the Forge.
Yeah, so there actually isn't 12 nodes. There's 11 because one of them's like etched out or damaged or something of that nature. But basingly, so it's kind of just like a mini quest system, right? Mm-hmm. So you're gonna go out and do just the normal activities. Is that the way that I understood it correct? And then
the system they're doing this is very, very much like the artifacts from Rise of Iron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like
it seems that he's offering. He has these. Brother Vance has these things called prophecy tablets.
There were several layers of the items you would get.
Yeah, so you pick that up, and it looks like he has a few to choose from. So my guess is that these are going to rotate over different weeks, just like the artifacts did. You'll pick it up, and it'll require certain items to complete it. And they're different drops that you get when you're playing in the public space. Mm-hmm. So then once you have those, you apply them to the prophecy tablet, and then you go turn that in when it's complete to Brother Vance, and he gives you essentially the parts for the weapon
to forge.
And then you bring that to the forge and you get your weapon, and everybody can see it in the public space when you're forging it. So that's kind of long cool and short of it. It's kind of like a convoluted quest, item quest. Not in a negative sense, but like there's just a lot of steps to it. But looks really fun, and it's basically made as end game content. Like these are things to do after you've completed the campaign,
which we need.
Yeah, absolutely. Like some cool, unique weapons.
This has different neat layers to it, like being in the public space, and that's where you forge your weapon. I mean, the whole point of it is, like you said, in game, the things that you have to do to finish these verses you get from him are crucible matches, heroic adventures, strikes.
Yeah.
So I mean,
people
will
say
give you a reason to jump in.
People say they want things to do in the end game. Like this is one of those things. And the weapons look really cool. They showed a couple of them, I believe. So I'm looking forward to checking all these weapons out, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun as we get to explore them every week and see what they are and how they handle and what they do and what they look like. So So this is pretty cool. What else did they talk about? They'd already brought up heroic strikes, right? Trying to think of if there was anything else. The new strikes. So this was a new dynamic, right? They brought up the fact that you're going to play the 2 new strikes in the story campaign, and they're built so you can do them solo. And then later you'll be able to play these as strikes, but they're retooled to be completed as a fire team. So what did you think about this idea?
I mean, of course, the feedback immediately was, kind of layering content, not giving us 2 different unique activities. I see what they're trying to do here. They specifically mentioned they want to incorporate the story of the strike into the campaign and then have you run it again with a fire team after that. I can appreciate that. I can get into that. I mean, I'm looking forward to just getting 2 new strikes in general. So
yeah, I think people are kind of jumping and complaining or assuming and saying like that they're basically taking story missions and making them strikes, as if to say like they're trying to shoehorn these into being other content that it isn't. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But I think we need to play them first before we make a judgment like that, because strikes in Destiny have a very specific way that they play. Like they have their own kind of design template that is usually followed that makes it a strike activity. And story missions can be similar, but they're usually, not as intense. There's less mechanics involved. There's less beats or kind of encounters almost. So I kind of want to see what this is like before I make a judgment like that. I think it's a little too soon to just jump to to an assumption that they're trying to recycle content. You know what I mean? We
shall see. Yeah.
We'll see. It's an interesting idea that they basically want people to be able to play that content on their own if they don't have people to play with. Which, I think that's something that they're trying to ensure that they can do in Destiny 2, is that people who either can't play with friends because they don't have people available, or they don't have a lot of friends, or maybe they just like playing solo, that more of the game is accessible in that way. So I'm interested to see how they do that.
Well, they got to cater to all of the types of players.
Filthy casuals.
Is it possible? That is the question.
We'll find out. But that was the reveal stream. Yeah. We've got another one to look forward to this week. I think is going to be the biggest one out of the 3.
Yeah, this one has become my new favorite, the one we're getting this week. I definitely enjoyed this last one. I was excited to see new ways to play, but after some of the developments over the last week, I cannot wait for this one this week here.
For sure.
Yes.
All right, you ready for some Dirt Fam discourse, sir?
Yes, dude, we got a speak pipe this week.
My man.
Yeah, we've been asking for it, asking for the speak pipe for a little bit. We've been getting a lot of emails, which is fine as well. But we got a speak pipe from Big D 112358. Let's take a listen.
Hey guys, my name is Big D 112358, and I'm one of the admins for a clan of about 300 called Uprising Family Gaming. So here's what I'd love to see in Destiny 2. Curious to hear your thoughts. Back in Destiny 1, our clan absolutely loved when Iron Banner rolled around every month. Why? There was a site called Destiny Clan Wars. Basically, it would match you up against other clans roughly the same size, and you would see who would come out on top. You'd, pool together everybody's scores from matches. There would be modifiers that would change each month, like extra points for kills with a pulse rifle or zone captures or whatever. So there's nothing like that in Destiny 2. I would love to see Bungie implement something like that into the game. Imagine if there were clan wars in the game every Iron Banner. Imagine if they opened it up to 6 versus 6, because clans have no problem getting a 6-man fire team. I think that's something that would get people really involved in Iron Banner in a big way every month, and get even more involvement into clans, and just take the whole clan involvement to another level. So, curious to hear your thoughts, and thanks for putting out such a great podcast every week. I love listening.
Big D, thanks for the speak pipe, man. It sounds like you've got a pretty healthy community. It is a shame, that the Destiny Clan Wars service is shut down in Destiny 2. And I think that's they tried to do something with leaderboards towards the end of Destiny 1 that I felt was going somewhere in the future. But then once we got the clan system, that feature was gone. And I hope that they eventually will bring some of that back, so you can see, you can do things like in the vein of what Big D is talking about, sort of competitively, clan versus clan, or within your clan compete with each other. Those are always really fun things to do.
Yeah. I feel like IB brings that out too, like you said. This is an example of many different areas that Bungie can delve just a little bit more in, the things that they can do with different aspects of the game. Iron Banner, these ideas are fantastic. I feel like, and I hope we see more stuff like this fleshed out over the lifespan of Destiny 2. And, it reminded me, I don't know if any of you out there ever played MAG on PS3. I played it because it was the same guys. Game. Zipper Interactive, those are the guys that made SOCOM. And MAG tried to do something different, man. It was really cool. And they also had like an ongoing thing where you could see which faction was winning the war at any particular time. And I think a Call of Duty even did that at a certain point. So it would be cool. Like there's so many different little things that Bungie could do with these different activities that would give them depth and make them more exciting, and this is a prime example of it for sure, because everybody, right now maybe not quite as much as in previous Iron Banners, but everybody likes to come out for Iron Banner. It's a good time. You get together with your friends. Even now, people are running Iron Banner this week, and it's to add layers like this to it would, especially with what they're pushing with the clans now. It's almost inevitable that they're gonna push out more features with all the work they've done on the clans. We're hoping so. So I don't know. I think this would be really cool to see more of.
Now this is a big opportunity for, one of 100 different ways that they could add features to the game for the communities to take advantage of, Hopefully that is something we see in Destiny 2's lifespan. Let's cross our fingers on that one.
We shall see. I think we ended the last discussion a few minutes ago with "We shall see."
We shall see.
Only time will tell.
Let's. But if you want to participate in DerpFam Discourse, if you want to leave a speak pipe like Big D, you can go to speakpipe.com/Destiny Reset. You can also send us emails for us to read on the show, and if you want to, offer some kind of feedback to something we talked about, or propose a question you'd love to hear answers on, you can do that. Destiny Reset podcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, Big D, thanks for that speak pipe. Great topic there.
Do we have any patron shout outs this week?
We do, man. They just keep coming in and just keep filling our hearts with joy. Before I give those shout outs, I gotta say, guys, we need you to go to your Patreon profile and sync your Discord account with your Discord profile with your Patreon profile, so that it automatically gives you the role to get one of the perks for being a patron and a supporter, which is access to our channel for you guys in our Discord server.
Yes.
Saying that right off the top here, so you go do that. If you're listening, as soon as you get to your computer, go sync your Discord with your Patreon profile. With that said, we got some shout outs. Oh, little tidbit here. Thanks to Riptide. You will not see that tab to link your Discord on the mobile version. You have to do it from the desktop version as of right now, as far as we know. Yes. So shout outs. Thank you so much, guys. The Jumpsmith, Scumbag Brian. You want to help me with this one?
Joe Coco.
There you go. Hacksaw. Nigel Frost. Thank you guys so much. So many more patrons and supporters. You guys are fantastic.
We really appreciate the support this month.
Yes.
Of all
You're
the
all
new
on the
patrons
website.
And all the existing patrons.
Yes.
And as we promised, we've got a special giveaway just for patrons this month, courtesy of Blue Microphones. If you become a patron by November 30th, you will be entered in a drawing to win your choice of a Blue Yeti or a pair of Blue Lola headphones. And that's just to thank our patrons. So if you want to become a patron, you can go to patreon.com/Destiny Reset. For as little as a pledge of $1 a month, you can help support the production budget of our show. That budget goes towards things like, hosting fees and website and all the little things it takes to make the derp world go round. So we appreciate you so much, all of you who have supported us in that way. It really, really does mean a lot to us.
Very much.
And there's some perks, for doing that. You also get a shout out on the podcast. You get your name on our website. You get our Discord channel that's just for patrons, where you get to talk to us about the show and get a little behind the scenes answers. We'll be a little more forthcoming there than if you just caught me on the street and started yelling at me. So, so go become a patron if you're so inclined. And if you just want to give a one-time donation, you can do that as well. We accept tips on PayPal. There's a PayPal link on our website, and a lot of listeners have opted to do that as well, and we appreciate them too.
Yes, so we do. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's it for this week, brother.
That's it, man.
Gotta get this show out into the airwaves.
Right? It's going to be live in a couple hours.
Yep. So where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at The Arrow Knight, and on Twitch and YouTube, it's Arrow Knights. What about you, man?
Awesome. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at CyborgSasquatch. And then finally, you can find us at Destiny Reset on Twitter. And then finally, you can find your source for all things DRP, www.destinyresetpodcast.com.
Yes. Everything is there.
It's all there.
Including merch.
That's right.
Very cool, man. No iTunes reviews this week. You know what? We went on a spree of iTunes reviews, and it's okay. You don't have to challenge them, Cyborg. We'll just have a nice little cozy week of setting at the number we're at. But next week
I better see some iTunes.
Look, we challenged them anyways. All right, man. Well, let's get this show wrapped up out into the airwaves and maybe sneak in some Iron Banner before we crash about 2-3 hours later than we probably should.
Yep.
All right, guys. Until next week, have fun playing Destiny 2 and take care, Guardians.